What's good, people? January 27th, we've officially passed the 17-week point with this whole surgical process, and this week was kind of another whirlwind, as this entire process has been. Wednesday, I got a cortisone injection into the joint in my foot. This injection is literally the last resort in this whole process of trying to get me back on the boards before the World Championship trials in May and the Big Ten Championships next month and the NCAA Championships. We are kind of on a full court press at this point. So, long story short, did the cortisone injection to basically remove all the swelling from that joint capsule where I'm feeling all the pain, and the pain went away pretty much instantly. We had about 16, almost 17 full weeks of just like a ton of pain on the inside of the foot. You do the injection and the pain was gone. And now it is Sunday and the pain is still, for the most part, gone. I don't necessarily feel pain when I'm walking around. I'm still in the boot. I actually get out of the boot tomorrow and we'll start to really see how it's feeling. But it's not painful. I just kind of feel it on the inside. I don't know how to describe it other than I just feel it when I take steps. It's not painful, but you know what? At this point, I think me just feeling the inside of my foot is more fear that it's going to hurt and more of a mental thing. And so I think as this week progresses, I'm going to start doing rehab where I'm jumping. I'm going to be back in the pool, and I'm actually supposed to start diving by the end of the week. For the first time in 18 weeks, I will be diving, which is very exciting. It's been a really long process, but I think going into this week, I'm going to be personally battling just fear that the foot is going to start to hurt again, and I don't want to be thinking about that. The injection worked. It worked as it was supposed to. The hard part for me is that this injection is not a fix. It is just a pain remover. So I don't necessarily know how cortisone works, but after watching many videos and talking to multiple doctors about this, it's some chemical, cortisol, something like that, that attaches to the inflammatory cells and prevents them from causing inflammation in that joint. And since the inflammation's down, my foot feels great. When the inflammation's there, it puts pressure on the foot and causes pain. And we now know something that we've known for 4 years, but the doctor believes this is what the actual issue with the foot is. I have an osteochondral lesion in my foot on the, I don't know what side is medial and which side is lateral, on the inside part of my navicular bone. I got surgery on my navicular bone on the outside, and now the inside has an osteochondral lesion, which is basically like a fragment of the bone is broken off. We knew that was there from the first CT scan I got 4 years ago, but it never hurt. It was never an issue, and the doctor wasn't worried about it because it wasn't hurting. And so now that we put screws into the bone, the doctor believes that because there's new force being put on the bone constantly from these screws, new pressure in there, that this osteochondral lesion is creating swelling in the foot because it is stressed from the screws in the foot. So the screws going into my foot has actually, it healed the stress fracture, but is causing pain to this lesion that's in my foot. And so I just can't win. I've just accepted at this point, I can't win, but this injection has taken away 90 to 95% of the pain, and I can dive on that. I dove 2015, 2016, 2017. I went through an entire Olympic process on a broken foot, and while it wasn't necessarily crazy painful, you know, if this one can stay as it is and not be crazy painful, but I just kind of feel it a little bit, I'd be happy. We can get through 2020 and it's full speed ahead. Now it's going to be a game of not overdoing it in training smart and resting well and really protecting the foot when I'm outside of the pool. So it's going to be a process, and I'm really hoping that this week goes well with training and getting back into things, because if this week goes well, that's going to show me what pretty much the rest of the process looks like. And if the foot starts to hurt, let's say in like 3 to 5 to 6 months, we can do this injection again and get me through the end of the year, and we can keep doing this to get through the Olympics. It may not feel great, but if it feels good enough to where I feel like I can dive and perform the best I can, my bone stimulator is done. I have this thing I have to do every day. I stick my foot in this box right here, and it helps stimulate bone growth. And I've been doing this every day since my surgery, and I've been doing this very frequently over the past 4 years. What was I saying? Yeah, if I can just like dive well enough in training to where I know when I step into a competition I can compete and I can perform the best that I can, I'm happy with that. I'm ready to go. I don't think there's any one athlete who is always perfectly healthy. You look at all the Olympic athletes, you look at all the NBA players, you look at all the NFL players, they are taped up, they have ice all over their bodies. Like Laura Wilkinson won an Olympic gold medal in 2000 on a broken foot. I won an Olympic silver medal in 2016 on a broken foot. Injury is just part of it, and if I can, at this point, maintain the good feeling in my foot that I'm having now and be smart about it and just be a competitor and compete hard and really be in the moment, I think this is going to be a successful Olympic process. This surgery process has absolutely sucked. This has been the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, but I was reading in Romans the other day, and it was talking about how trials build character to produce hope in the Father's goodness. And that was kind of a reminder for me through this process that it's not necessarily about me getting back to the sport of diving and being the best there is and just being the best athlete ever. It's more so this whole process has been the Lord building up character in me, which I absolutely sucked at, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of a crappy person these past 17 weeks. Just, you know, it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of strain, and it's hard to not just be a complete, I don't know, idiot and just like short-tempered and mean and quick and snappy with people when you're not having a good day or a good week or a good 4 months. And the Lord's building my character through this process, but it's really revealed how just like not great my character is in times of stress. And when it's 4 complete months of stress, you really see that and see how it affects the people around you and how it affects yourself. And so the Lord's building character to produce hope in me that He is good. It's hard to see the Father's goodness in all of this. It's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's really hard to like feel that God is good when life, in no better way of saying this, just absolutely sucks for a period. So now I'm at the point, I'm starting to feel better in the foot, that I'm really trying to focus on living out that good character that the Lord's trying to build up in me, have that hope that the Father's good. Whether I'm completely healed or not, I'm going to make that active choice to believe that God is good, even if I don't feel it. But every athlete goes through injuries, and I was even looking at one of my teammates this week, and I walked in after my cortisone shot, and they're like, "Oh, how's your foot doing?" And I was like, "It feels great. I feel like I could dive right now." And I'm not diving though. And he walked in, and I was like, "Oh, how's your injury doing?" And he's like, "You know, it absolutely hurts so bad anytime I move it, but he's still diving." And I'm like, I just need to get back to that point. It might hurt, but I gotta get back. I got a job to do. So teammate, thank you for being my inspiration to, I don't know, get back. Get back on the boards, even though it might not feel perfect. So that is the Week 17 update. Week 18 update, I'm actually going to my first college competition of the season this coming weekend in Evanston. I almost said Chicago. In Evanston, Illinois, we are having our last dual meet of the season. My first meet, but our school's last dual meet against Northwestern in Minnesota. And my goal is to compete the easiest list I possibly can, but do the dives as well as I can to get the zone cut so I can qualify for the NCAA zones, so I can qualify for the NCAA championships. We are really in crunch time. I have this meet this weekend, and then in 4 weeks we have Big Tens. And those are my only 2 opportunities to get the zone cut. If I don't hit a certain score on any of the boards at either of those meets, I won't be able to compete at NCAA zones, which means I won't be able to compete at the NCAAs because zones qualifies for NCAAs, and this is a big whole process. This is why we've been on such high stress this whole process, is because everything's happening so fast and we have so much to do and no time to do it. But I'm gonna compete hard, I'm gonna train smart, and it feels good now. I'm gonna hope it continues to feel good, but if it doesn't, we're gonna push through. So cheers your coffees with me to starting this Olympic journey super late and trying to make it all work. Oh man, you know, this is just being an athlete. You get hurt, you push through it, and you keep fighting.